Hey little spooky bubbados, hello, welcome to our first little summer spooky stories campfire hangout. Hooray! And I'm gonna be doing this every Sunday. Yes, we can rush marshmallows, of course. I'm going to be doing this every Sunday for the next 3 months. I'm going to be reading all of you some of my favorite spooky stories. As usual, I'm Khione. Hello my little babies. I've got this floaty campfire in the sky. Hooray! How's everyone doing? So, as it says on my schedule, today we are... I love this set, thank you. We are reading SCP stories, and some of you may be wondering, what is SCP? Because I realize not everyone knows what it is, and even those who do have a lot of questions because it's a very complex thing. So before we get into the stories, I will be giving you guys some introductory details. I'll be doing this with every set of stories we read. And the SCP series also was made into a fairly decent video game, which I do want to play for you guys on stream someday. It's notorious for being hard to set up. Like, even streamers 11 zillion times more experienced than me, like Markiplier, etc., have had trouble setting the game up. But hopefully the game's, since the game's been out for years and years and years at this point and gotten so many updates, we can we could play it together on stream, no problem. You still don't fully get it? Yeah, SCP is really complicated. So I made sure to bring up this little guide straight from their website because, yes, I could just tell you guys about it because I know all about this, but I thought it would be best just to read their description of their own site, which is excellent. And before I do that, I'm going to welcome everybody who's in chat. We've got Pizza Queen, we have Lost Victorian, we have Kaylee. Hello, my bubbies, and all my silent bubbies, and my VOD gang. Hello, I'm so happy to have you all here. This background, I don't know if we'll keep it for the rest of the streams, but if you guys like it, we can keep it. So I thought this would be cute way to start. And we've got our crickets. So, of course. And yeah, so yes, we can roast marshmallows. I hope you guys have your snacks and your blankies and your drinks. If you guys need a moment, go get that. I'll let you do that. But yeah, so I have picked out also some of my favorite stories. I also made sure to pick ones that are kind of easy to get into because here's the thing about the SCP series. Some of the concepts are extremely complicated. Literally, one of my favorite series is about one of their divisions called the Anti-Memetics Divisions, and I am not gonna drop that on you guys first thing. That is one of the most complex series of things in the entire universe of SCP. So yeah, I'll grab my blankie. Okay, I'll give you guys a moment or two. So how's everyone doing? You guys can go get some blankies and some snacks and some drinks. I've just got some water here. My vessel is feeling better, by the way. We found out what was wrong with her, and she's on the road to recovery, so hopefully we can get back into normal streams. Sorry for the later time today, everyone. I had to get a little bit more resties because my sleep schedule is very strange right now. Again, gray insomnia, so. But, yeah. Got my jingly bracelets. I always have them. And we got our stories. Oh, you guys ready? You guys ready? Man, I wonder if I should introduce myself at every stream. It feels kind of weird because, like, I have regulars here, but I guess I need to realize there's gonna be, like, VOD gang, there's gonna be new people coming in watching, so I don't know. So yes, today we'll be reading some SCP stories, and this is very complicated. So I will start with just like a basic introduction to what this even is. So, ready everyone? Okay, excellent, wonderful and lovely. So, the SCP Foundation, as it's called, is centered around this. Well, I'll just. Oh, I bonked. See, I talk with my hands so much. I just bonked the mic. I'm sorry, guys. And how's the sound, guys? I hope I'm not too loud. I've had a few streams where I listened back to them. I was like, whoa, I might have been too close to the mic. So let me adjust it here. Let's see. Okay, let me start with their description and then we'll go from there, because they give a very good introduction to their own site. So I'll just let them speak for themselves. Let me read this for you guys. What is this place all about? This is the SCP Foundation Wiki, a collaborative writing site based around the premise that, in essence, magic is real. It's not exactly like the traditional fantasy-style magic you've come to know, but that's the best way we can describe the stuff we have here. Anomalies. Items and critters that do not follow the rules of nature as we know them. Staircases that go on forever, mechanical gods from the beginning of time, otherwise regular humans who reshape reality with their mind. These are the kinds of things that, if known to the public, could cause mass hysteria and start wars on scales unprecedented. Due to that, there exists an organization called the SCP Foundation, whose job is to research paranormal activity, keep these creatures and objects concealed from the public, and protect humanity from the horrors of the dark. That's the long and short of it. This site is a place where a bunch of different people write stories about an organization that keeps the inexplicable under lock and key. Except, instead of just calling it magic, we use sciencey terms like ontokinesis and thaumatology. The wiki started as a horror/creepypasta site, so the majority of the older content is focused around that. But since then, we've expanded our horizons, and nowadays you can find any type of writing you want, from novella-length adventures to one-line jokes. So, why is everything contradictory? So something you guys will notice about the lore of SCP when you really start to get into it is the canonical lore is kind of all over the place. And there's a really good reason for that. Sound is good. Sound is fine, at least for me. Okay, thank you, babies. Thank you, honeys. Okay, so to reach over 10,000... So once again, this is a collaborative writing website. It's an interesting thing. So, yes, anyone can collaborate and add stories to this website as long as you follow their guidelines. So maybe one of you could write a story if you're interested. Maybe I could, but you know. So to reach over 10,000 articles on site, we had to let go of the idea of a singular canon. And for those of you guys who don't really know what I'm talking about when I say canon, so you know, like in stories, how there's like the actual event of the story that happens and is accepted as the official events of the story. That's like the canon of the story, right? So yeah, that's what I and they are talking about when they mention this idea of what's canonical to the storytelling universe. So because of all the articles they had to let go of the singular idea of one canon, meaning that every article on the site is allowed to contradict and disregard any other article, no matter how well known or popular. Did someone say the Foundation was formed in 1960s, but you need the Foundation to exist in World War I? The Foundation is now from the 19th century. Sure. You want a foundation that has more resources than the eye can see? Go wild. You want a foundation that's penniless? Why not? As long as the story is interesting, your freedom is basically unlimited. While this is often phrased as, there is no canon, this doesn't mean that nothing on the site can coexist. Many articles can share the same universe, and some explicitly reference each other. It just means that you don't have to try to fit everything into a singular version of the Foundation. So it's very open, it's very flexible, as long as you follow some specific guidelines for how they write their articles. So, basic terminology. Due to the scientific and clinical tone most of the site aims for, there are a few terms used in articles that may confuse new readers, such as anomaly or anomalous. This is anything that doesn't follow the rules of reality as we know them. So stuff that has weird magical properties. Technically, I'm anomalous, so technically I'm an SCP. Object classes. Every anomaly contained by the Foundation has assigned object class, which tell you how difficult it is to contain. The three most common classes are safe, meaning it's simple to contain, Euclid, meaning containment is more complex, and Keter, meaning containment is very difficult to maintain. So you'll have things that are like a ring that when you wear it, it cures like any disease. That's so easy to contain. They just put it in a box and forget about it, right? But then there are things that are literally like living entities that can like meld, like shift through walls and do all sorts of like crazy reality bending stuff. So sometimes those entities have
super complex ways to contain them. Like, they have to be in a this many centimeters thick metal box under the ocean, and you have to like sacrifice this very specific type of human to them every 300 days or something. I'm just making that up. Like, it's stuff like that. It's really crazy, some of them. So yeah. And then with the object classes, there's also different like humans that like help the Foundation, like different scientists, different like military task force units. And hello, Moomy has come for spooks. Moo has come for spooks. Moomy. Moo. Moo. Say your name in different funny ways, little one. Your on-stream name. Moo. Mooma is pretty cute. Mooma. Say it with every vowel. Mooma. Moome is cute. What are you doing? She's here with us. Okay, let's go back to the reading. She'll just be hanging out. Don't mind her. So, there's something that you guys will hear about in a lot of like the stories that are like come along with the articles. So the way that the website works is you'll have these like scientific articles talking about each anomalous thing, right? And then in that article, it will be like, here's how you contain this thing. Here's what it looks like, because always the containment procedures are at the top because that's the most important. Because this organization is always about containing these anomalous things, right? So you gotta have that right at the top. And then what it looks like, and then just like different details about it. And then there will also be stories that kind of fit in with that. And in a lot of these stories feature these like these groups called MTF, which are Mobile Task Force Units. So they're elite units for responding to and containing anomalies. Depending on the anomaly, these range from paramilitary teams to groups of specialized researchers. So you could have a team that's like a bunch of military people, or you could have a team that's just a bunch of scientists. And she's just going to be chatting in the background. Don't mind her. And there are also groups of interest. So there are groups other than the Foundation that deal with or handle the anomalous, like the Serpent's Hand, I think it's the GOC. And so like there are like different groups. So there's like the Foundation, which their job is to contain all these anomalous things, right? And then there are other groups that want to like free the anomalies that are harmless. There's another group that wants to destroy them, and so on and so forth. There's even like a group of artists that think SCP should be used for like furthering the goals of art and that kind of thing. And they're called Are We Cool Yet? So yeah, it's all over the place. But this isn't a comprehensive list. Other unfamiliar words may be listed in our glossary of terms, or maybe technical terms you can look up online. A lot of the time, authors use real scientific terms to add some flavors to their articles. So yeah, if there's a word while I'm reading that you guys don't understand, just please bring it up in chat and I'll explain it. And after every story, I'll kind of explain things that might not be clear, so don't worry. So there's also like art and like all sorts of things. They have a Discord. And let me just give you guys the site here. If you guys want to like read along with me. So here's their website. If you guys want to poke around, just either in your own time or, and yeah, before I start reading, I will link you guys the article so you can read along with me if you want, but you don't have to. So let's see. So this is the essential info that every new user is expected to know. But I'm sure all your questions haven't necessarily been answered. If you're staring and wondering where the rest of the guide is, that's because we're going to direct you to specific topics. There's a guide for reading, writing, and joining the site. You guys can check out the writing and joining the site in your own time, because that's not really relevant to what we're doing right now. So there's a lot of terminology here. I'm not going to read all of this because some of this is very specialized stuff. But I will link it to you guys just in case you guys want to look it up on your own. But you don't have to. So, but I do have this open as well, so you guys don't really need to worry about it. But just in case, there you go. Okay. But let's see here. So I will read a bit about the guide for reading so you guys know how we come at this. So if you're new to the wiki, which I see some of you are, you may be confused about the best way to approach it. Unlike most forms of fiction, there's no canon or central storyline, as I read to you guys before. While it's liberating to be told that you can technically start anywhere, even with a completely random SCP, which the anomalies are called SCPs, which stands for Secure, Contain, Protect, but it's also the name they give to the little anomaly boys and girls and thingies. So yeah, having too many options to not understand is an issue newcomers often face. So there's a guide, and then it lists the articles by series and so on and so forth, so you can read them in order. But there's like thousands and thousands of SCP. Even I haven't read all of them because there's so many, because over the years this site's been around forever. It's like super popular. So or like top rated pages, etc., etc., So, and then, so I'm going to start with, so the way all of this started was, so a little baby bitty history lesson before we get into the stories. This started on 4chan's X-board, I think. Someone posted the very first SCP, which was actually not one SCP-001. It was an SCP called 173, and he's a little rascal and I love him. He's adorable. He's in the game. I will show you guys what he looks like right now on screen. Let me pop him in here. Let me introduce him to you guys. He's a funny little boy. 173. Here we go. Come here, little guy. He's a little rascal. So now I don't have all the details. I just know like where it started and what the first one was. But as the site, like, there he is! There he is, 173! He's gonna do a little dance. So the thing about this little guy, he may look goofy. He may look harmless. He's gonna have a seat over by the fire here. But he's nasty boy. So he is a sentient sculpture who has to be constantly cared for in this like little enclosure, and he constantly leaks this weird brownish red fluid that has to be cleaned up. He's very cute, isn't he? But don't let his goofy looks fool you. He's incredibly dangerous. So the way he works is you have to keep your eyes on him constantly and not blink. So when they send in like what are called D class, so there's like the Foundation like researchers, right? And then there's the anomalies they have contained, but then there's their little grunt workers that are like, they pull from have numbers as names. Yes, it is so overwhelming for new people, but they do also have nicknames. Like he's just called like the sculpture or something, I think. They do always have nicknames as well, so I'll try to use their nicknames for you guys, but do keep in mind they use their numbers. So he gets all the s'mores. Yup. So 173, he works, if you guys are familiar with like, I think it's Doctor Who, he's like a weeping angel situation where if you blink, he teleports. And if he gets close enough, he snaps your neck. So he's very dangerous. So what people have to do when they go in to send the D-class workers to clean his containment, they have to send in 3, and they have to say when they're blinking, so at least someone is keeping eyes on his ass. So as long as there's someone staring at him, he can't move. But the moment, like, if everybody blinks at once, he's gonna jump and he's gonna, like, teleport and crack your neck. There's actually a really funny, cute, like, kind of jokey story about him and how much he loves to crunch. He loves to crunch the necks. I might read that to you guys today. But yeah, he's kind of cute but creepy. Yeah, I love it. 173. He was the very first SCP. And this is actually like, so the way people work with the articles, let me get you guys his article if you want to take a look at it with me, is they would just find like images around the internet that fit their vision of what 173 was. So unfortunately, they went through a thing where they cleaned up the site and they had to remove some stuff that was like copyrighted. He loves the crunch and munch. He just loves the crunch. I don't think he needs to eat. But here's his article, if you guys want to have a look at it. So you guys can see how it works. I will read it to you. Yeah, it's really spooky. Yeah. But people would like, in the early days of the website, people would just find like whatever fit their vision and use it as the article's picture. But, you know, eventually that ran into copyright issues like little 173 here. He's someone's art project in like Japan, I think. So they had to remove his picture from the wiki. But this is him. This will always be him to everybody in our hearts and souls. This is 173. We love him. But yeah, he's the OG SCP. I don't know why they started with 173. Maybe it was a number that was the first person who ever made up an SCP story. It was special to them or something. But there is an 001. And 001 is very complicated because I think the way it worked is they held like a contest for people to write stories for the 001 spot since it was so special, since it's number 1, right? So people were writing stories, and in the end, because there were so many good options, they put an in-universe thing where all of them are true. And the way that works is you can pick and choose which one is canon, and they like obscure the foundation, like in the storyline, obscures which one's the real one because of how powerful it is. So they make it so you don't know what the real one is, you know what I mean? But OOC, like out of character and out of like, for us, the writers and readers, it's because they didn't want to just give any one story the 001 spot. They wanted just to kind of have all of them be a thing. So yeah, it was pretty nice. So I will read a lot of the 001 proposals, as they're called, to you guys some days, but those are more complicated, so we're not going to start with those. But we will start with this classic little fellow here, 173. So let me read this to you guys. You guys can follow along if you want to. So he is item number SCP-173. I think he's also known as the statue. Object class Euclid. Now, do you guys remember the object classes? They're Safe, Euclid, and Keter. He's Euclid because he's kind of hard to contain. And so as you guys could see, it says special containment procedures. So he's to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter, no fewer than 3 may enter at a time, and the door is to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with 173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: Move to Site -19, 1993. Origin is as yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. 173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with 173. Personnel assigned to enter the container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. And one of the original pictures of 173, you could see like the dark stains on his back, like his backside, so it was implied that it comes from him. So... Cursed Robert doll. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. So this is the OG boy. This is 173. We love him. We adore him. He's adorable. He's funny. He's terrified. So he's just going to be hanging out with me and you guys and Fabrosi. Fabrosi is back here in my arms. So yeah. So before we start, does anyone have any questions before we start on the first little spooky one that has like an exploration log around with it? It has like a story. And you guys are welcome to ask me questions in chat as well at any time, even while I'm reading. No. So if there aren't any questions from you, are there donuts? If you guys want there to be donuts, sure. What kind of donuts do you guys like? I like pretty much all kinds of donuts. Donuts are amazing. And hello, Champagne Samuel. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. We're just reading some SCP stories. If you need a recap or you have any questions, just let me know. But if there are no questions, we're going to start on the first SCP that I picked out for today. So basically just like, I'll give like a quick little recap. It's basically a collaborative writing website that has all these spooky little things that are anomalous and like magical and have to be contained by this foundation, like this secret foundation. Bavarian cream donuts are great. Bavarian cream donuts are amazing. That's an excellent choice. I love cream-filled donuts a lot. They're so good. But yeah, make sure you guys have your snacks, your drinks, your blankies. You need some little stuffies to hug. I guess I'm here to hug. You guys can hug me and hold on to me at any time. Fabrosi's here to hug. Don't mind if he nibbles on your fingers. And don't mind 173 over there. He's staring at that fire. We're good. We're good. He's not going to bother us. Because I'm here. So I'm anomalous. So I'm neutralizing his anomalous properties, I guess. He's not going to snap your guys' necks. Vanilla cream. Yeah, those are really good. So we're going to start with a spooky Ghostbusters. Pretty much, yeah. But they contain all kinds of things. So some of the things they contain are really dangerous. Some of the things they contain are actually helpful for humanity. Like there's this jade ring that if you wear it, it cures any disease. So there's helpful things like that they keep under lock and keys so they don't get misused by the wrong people, you know. So yeah, but we're going to be reading some of the spooky ones because, you know, it's such a big, expansive website, and I put the links in chat for you guys to check out if you want. It's such a big, expansive website that there are not only spooky stories, because the spooky stories is what it started out as. It started out as like a collaborative horror writer, you know, wiki thing, and it developed from there. So there are also like humorous stories or just kind of weird stories and stuff like that. But they're very detailed and they have very strict rules, so they're all like cohesive, you know. But the canon is all over the place. So if you want the foundation to have existed since ancient times, it can, you know. Anyway, with that out of the way, we're going to start with this, and you guys are welcome to read along with me. So I will give you the general SCP. This is 455 or 455. And there's a story that goes along with it that's pretty spooky. So we're going to start with this one. And as you guys can see from the picture, it's like a rusted ship out in the middle of the ocean, which I find absolutely terrifying because I have two phobias. I have thalassophobia and I have submechanophobia. And if you guys don't know what those are, thalassophobia is fear of the ocean or deep depths of water. And submechanophobia is like a fear of mechanical things under or in the water, specifically under the water. So this is terrifying to me. Maybe to some of you guys too. But there's spooky stories to go along with it. It's not just a rusted ship in the middle of the ocean, you know. So let's go. Let's go. You guys ready? You guys got all your stuff? You guys ready? So it's a Euclid, which means it's kind of not super hard to contain. It's kind of in the middle because we have safe, which is really easy to contain, Euclid, which is in the middle, and Keter, which is very difficult to contain. So it's not how dangerous they are, it's how difficult they are to contain. Because there can be things that are safe class, but if they get out, they could end the world. Like, I'm sure there's one out there that's like that, or just could cause a lot of, like, damage. But it's really easy to, like, contain, you know? So anyway, it's Euclid. And the special containment procedures. It cannot be moved nor contained in any structure. Containment must be made on site. No exploration or testing is to be made on or in SCP-455. No personnel are to remain in close proximity for more than 5 minutes. All physical contact with 455 is forbidden. Any personnel breaking this order are to be quarantined. Oh, it's already pretty spooky. Any hallucinations experienced near 455 are to be recorded and logged. Any personnel experiencing hallucinations are to be transferred. Any personnel attempting to enter 455 are to be restrained by any means deemed necessary. 455 is a large cargo ship currently run aground on the north coast of Chile. Most of its structures underwater and badly damaged, with rust coating 85 to 90% of all surfaces. Internal structure appears to be significantly larger than external dimensions and is not flooded, despite large holes visible on the outer hull. Internal structure appears to be a random assembly of rooms, halls, and structures. Initial salvage teams reported rooms made of human teeth, an engine with tendon strips for timing belts, a hull extending for 182.88 meters, 600 feet, beyond where the outer hull should terminate. An open gem room with steel walls as pliant as taffy, and numerous audio and visual hallucinations. Team was lost after reporting entry to Central Navigation. Rescue team lost after reporting the investigation of screaming in a cargo section. Dr. Redacted has suggested the use of robots to map the interior of 455 after the failure of several manned exploration teams. And here we have 2 exploration logs of the said failures of these teams and what happened to them. And I'm going to be reading those to you guys. So experiment log 455 details the attempts to explore and gather information established despite their failures overall. And then 4553, record of last major expedition attempt by MTF Zeta 9. So as you guys remember, the MTFs are the mobile task force units, which can be military, they can be scientists, it can be mixed, they can be like anomalous themselves sometimes. That's interesting. So first there's this short story. You guys can follow along with me if you would like. Okay. Run. The rusted metal stretches for as far as can be seen. The runner does not care that this is only a few feet in front of himself. As far as he is concerned, the claustrophobic corridor stretches on forever. And it does. But not for him. Don't stop. A woman slams against a steel door, pristine and shining in the darkness of the hold. Rust flakes from the floor as she throws herself against the steel, panting heavily. Her fingernails crack as they scrabble against the smooth face of the door, frantically searching for something to turn. They will never stop looking. Not like this. A man walks slowly through a room filled with steaming belts and pistons. A human eye rolls towards him as a face stretches across a belt, locked in a rictus of pain and agony. A human elbow rapidly pumps in a nearby machine, forcing an unidentifiable chunk of something in and out. A pair of empty eye sockets stare into him. He will never look away. Make it stop. A man sprints into a dead-end room, stopping to stare at the wall. He screams and turns, a cry of rage and confusion and hurt, only to see the door slam shut behind him. He will never leave, until his flashlight dies. The pain. Deep within the rusted hulk, a woman screams. She has been screaming for seconds, for years. She does not know the difference. She only knows that she should never have entered this place of death and steel and meat. She will never correct her mistake. No escape. A man stands atop a rusted deck, gaunt and pale from his days spent in the darkness, searching for an exit. A spotlight waves over him, a boat is sent, and a crew arrives to rescue him. The man, overjoyed, moves to jump. He does not hit the water. Stay with us. In the heart of the ship, 1,000 voices scream in agony. All are lost, many for hundreds of years, some for days. All are screaming the same soul-wrenching scream that only the dying know, and they will never stop. Team was lost after reporting entry to Central Navigation. Rescue team lost after reporting the investigation of screaming in a cargo section. Ooh, so spooky. So, we move on to experiment log 455. Now, this is an actual in-universe recording of what happened to this team that was investigating. Exploration logs of SCP-455. First encounter. Let me give you guys the link so you can read along with me if you want to. First encounter. Initial reports of disappearance of a salvage operation regarding 455 led to its classification in our databases. A research team of 5 members was dispatched to confirm status of civilian researchers. This team consisted of 2 field analysts and 3 security personnel. Due to the low threat level initially given to a beached cargo vessel, no direct contact was kept with this team. Team orders required 1 contact to their control HQ every 24 hours. After 3 days of uneventful activity, team failed to report in, and after 2 days of lost contact, a secondary team was dispatched to investigate lapse in communication. This team consisted of 10 standard field agents with standard gear for confrontation with humanoid aggressors. A search of the vicinity of 455 discovered encampment of the first team in a condition that suggested an anticipated return. A rice cooker left running for several days contained heavily burnt food. Research laptops were left on and running, powered by the camp's portable generator. An analysis of the reports on the laptop indicated minimal activity of note from the site or from 455 up until the date of ceased communications. The last entry mentions recording of human voices coming from deep within 455 and a departure of the team to investigate for possible missed survivors from the salvage operation. After reporting in the state of Team 1's camp, Team 2 was ordered to maintain constant radio contact through the remote system already on camp. What follows is an abbreviated transcript of the audio recorded during Team 2's investigation of 455 in search of Team 1. HQ, this is T2L. Please respond. This is HQ. We have you. Loud and clear. Over. Understood, HQ. We are above deck on the vessel now. Sun is still up. We can see into the hold, but not very far. Flashlights also aren't helping matters much. We're foregoing direct descent into the hall and are going to use the stairs to the crew decks and access it from there, so we're not separated. Is this acceptable, HQ? Over. Roger. T2L, you have complete discretion from here forward. Over. We've been out of contact with Team 1 for a couple days now already. A few more minutes won't hurt them. Proceed swiftly, but cautiously. Inconsequential audio deleted. HQ, this is T2L. We've got an anomaly here. Over. T2L, this is HQ. What's the situation? We're on deck 3 so far of the vessel, sir. But it has taken us like half an hour to get down this far. Something not quite right about the distance between floors for us to spend 10 minutes getting between each. Understood, T2L. We suggest you send 1 member back up to the surface and then have him return. Please update us to the elapsed time. Over. T2L here, HQ. We sent up a man as advised and return in 4 minutes. Set him back twice in a sprint, 2 minutes. We all recorded 30 to get down this far at least, and we all recorded our scouts' return times as well. There's definitely something inconsistent. Proceed as planned, T2L. Time lapses have been recorded, but we see no need to abort mission over this. Please use precaution when these lapses occur, and immediately try to raise us, should you suspect one, so we confirm time since last contact. In addition, if radio silence is encountered, use utmost discretion. Then silence. T2L, respond. Silence. T2L. Fuck. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Some of this is funny. Okay. HQ, this is T2L. Please repeat. T2L, where the flying fist fuck have you been? We were just talking, sir. How long ago? Sir, 30 seconds? Maybe 50? Guys, yeah, less than a minute. T2L, please be advised we've been out of contact with you for 16 hours, give or take. Over. Sir? That can't be right. You were just... Listen, I don't know what the shit is going on out there, but this is what I want you to do. Get to the bottom of those fucking stairs, search the hold, report back as soon as you get there, and then get the fuck out. Do I make myself clear? Sir, yes, sir, out! Sir, We're apparently at the bottom of the ship now, 5 floors down by our count. Standard for a cargo vessel this size. We're approaching the hold now, and T2L, this is HQ, and something's odd about the door, sir. Details, T2L, define odd. Well, it's pristine, sir. The rest of the ship is something of a shithole, but this door looks like it came out of the metal press. Noted, T2L. Proceed through using maximum caution. Weapons ready. Sir, yes, sir. Proceeding to open the door. Background lock system can be heard disengaging. We're looking into the hold now, sir. Moving forward. Remaining silent for now, T2L. Focus on searching the hold and getting topside. There's background sound of a door slamming closed and a lock system rotating back into place. The fuck? Did you close that? No, sir. It did it on its own. What the hell? We appear to be locked in now, HQ, but we can see daylight above us, so we can probably rappel out if the door won't... What is that? HQ, there appear to be people down here with us. Estimated 15 or so in the corner huddled together. They look injured. We're approaching. Hey, that's Dawn! Dawn, man! Wake up! Wait! Oh, fuck. HQ, come in! HQ, come in, come in! T2L, this is HQ. What is it? We found the salvage team, and the first team, they're here, and I don't know if they're alive or not, but they're... T2L? They're what? T2L, come in. Wait, where did Ramses go? He was right. Daniel! Vincent? What the fuck? HQ, come in. We just lost 4 members. T2L, makes sense. What do you mean lost? I hear no weapons fire. They're just gone, sir. They were standing behind us at flank and they're just gone. Spencer? What? Someone's shining a light on Spencer. Where'd he go? Son of a bitch. T2L, what's going on in there? HQ, we've lost 4 men apparently. They were just at the rear of us and now they're gone. There's an unknown sound similar to sliding metal. T2L? T2L, respond. Respond? Where the hell did he go now? HQ! Come in, HQ! T2L, we're here. Please respond. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. They responded, guys. HQ responded. HQ, this is Baker, and I'm here with Jensen and Thomas from D2 sent to... We know who you're with, Baker. We were just talking to T2L about 10 seconds ago. Where is... HQ? We haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. We're out of rations, though we found some food in one of the crew rooms. T2L's been dead since we were in the hold. He went to investigate the people in there, and as soon as he approached them, the hatch in the back, it flew open. It made a huge noise. We all turned to look at it, then back to T2L, and he was gone. Him and those people in the corner, just gone, like the others. We searched the ship up and down, but we never found him. Did you return to the surface for supplies, Baker? The ship should only be 5 floors. We never thought to do that. This ship is at least 30 floors, HQ, at least. But we found a crew quarters with food, and we've been... Baker, our first team reported this ship has been ashore for at least 30 years, maybe more. What food did you think you could find in there that was edible? Baker? 30 years? Baker, listen closely. I want you and whoever is left to get topside immediately. We are dispatching a rescue team to... Gunshots. Baker! Gunshot. Baker, come in! What the fuck is going on over there? A third team of heavily armed recon units was dispatched to 455 site and investigated the cargo hold from above deck using high-powered flashlights and flares. No trace of any life was in the hold, nor was there any trace there had ever been life there. Reports indicate a layer of dust and rust approximated to be an inch thick as determined by the cloud and dispersal caused by dropping of flares into the hold. Team 3 was recalled and a high-priority research team deployed to 455 for deeper investigation as to the fate of all 3 missing groups. Team 3. After the failure of the first two teams dispatched to 455, a third was put together and sent. This team was composed of more veteran members with far more experience exploring and investigating sites of interest or risk. This team was composed of 5 persons and included an additional technician who would remain outside 455 at all times to maintain communication link to the team. Unknown to Team 3, a 4th team, coded as Ripcord, composed of 5 members as well, was put on standby on site approximately 10 miles away. Their purpose was emergency evac of Team 3 should it become necessary, and they were to proceed to 455 site immediately after Team 3 entered it to reduce response time. Team 3's issued gear included 2 separate video recording units, one issued to the leader, T3L, and one to a video specialist, T3V. This was deemed necessary due to the lapses in time experienced during Team 2's investigation. One member of Team 3 was instructed to enter 455 through the cargo loading area directly and would be tethered to land by a pulley system.
Get some water here.
T3L, this is HQ. We are online and receiving feeds. Over. T3L, Roger HQ. This is T3L. We are preparing to enter the ship via the stairs. Evans is in position at the cargo hold. Understood. Proceed through both entrances and move directly to the cargo hold to rendezvous with Evans. T3V is recording his descent, and all floodlights are active within the hold, as well as the ones on deck. Team 3's primary force proceed down the stairs into 455, while its secondary unit descend into the cargo hold where Team 2 disappeared. Within 3 minutes of descending into 455, the primary force's video feed ended. The secondary force experienced no issues at all and waited in the cargo hold under the observation of T3V. He recorded what consisted of 5 minutes of Evans walking in circles, dancing a brief jig, and waving up at the camera. HQ considered sending T3V to investigate the stairs, but it was decided that full attention should be paid to Evans, who was within 455 and experiencing no anomalous activity. During mounting concern on whether to abort or proceed with the mission, T3L's video feed returned. T3L, respond immediately. Over. We lost the feed to you. What happened? HQ? HQ, come in. For God, you're there. Oh God, this is T3L. We've lost 2 men. Somehow the rest of us are still alive at this place. It's T3L. How much time has passed for your unit? Time? 10 hours, sir. We came here 10 hours ago and... Now slow down, T3L. Are you in a safe location at this current moment? Yes, we're fine in this room. It seems to be food storage. Touch nothing in that room, T3L, and listen closely to me. The mission has been in progress for 5 minutes. Evans is in the hold, apparently doing the hammer now. Now listen. I want you to detail to me exactly what has happened, and do not leave that room. Do not eat anything in that room. Take a breath, secure the entryway, and talk to me. T3L explained that they had proceeded down 20 floors within the ship when divers have established that it can't possibly have more than 6 from the exterior. During this time, T3V was instructed to raise Evans back out of the cargo area and secure him topside. Okay. Relax. Okay. HQ. Okay. We proceeded down the stairs as normal. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until we noticed we had gone down far more flights than it should have taken to get to the bottom to enter the cargo area. We sent Eric up to retrace our steps, and he was only able to go up 2 floors. We had descended, at my count, at least 15. There was no hatch back to the surface. The stairs just went up to the ceiling and ended. We could hear his every word from his location. Eric then said that the hatch to the floor was open and he saw someone in it leaning against a wall. They were well within earshot of us as well, but hadn't reacted to any of our conversation. Keep going, T3L. So Eric, he goes through the hatch to try and figure out who this person is. They hadn't moved, hadn't shown any hostility. And according to him, they weren't even looking in our direction, like we didn't even exist to them. Suddenly we heard gunfire, so the entire team rushed up 2 flights, and just like he said, the stairs just stopped at the ceiling and the floor hatch was open. Nobody was in that hallway, not a soul. No Eric, no second person, no bullet shells, nothing. But the walls, the walls were wrong, like hazy, like you're viewing them through a gas leak. They were flowing and fluid, just wrong. I closed the hatch. I don't know why I didn't go in and look for Eric, but I felt like I couldn't. I wrote him off as lost immediately. I wasn't going in there or sending any of my men in there after him. Understood, T3L. Keep going. So, the rest of the squad, we had to go back down the stairs. Can't go up. Not going in that hallway. All the rest of the floors were closed off. We went down maybe 10 more flights, and then the stairs started changing. They were solid metal, like aluminum. But now there were holes in the steps, and the metal looked rusted in some places, like old, like the rest of the ship. Up until now, everything had seemed rather clean. Like, it didn't dawn on me immediately that the clean parts were actually stranger than the old parts. We found a food storage area down here. Everything seems in good shape, but we didn't touch any of it yet. I read the Team 2 logs. I sent a man out into the hall to see what we could do on this floor. There seems to be a series of ladders in a group at the far end, but the entirety of this floor is food storage. It actually doesn't make sense why there's so many of these rooms. I'm taking over 20 on this one floor. They're all big enough for 10 people to stand inside and have room to move. Some of them are locked, and that's probably for the best. And the ladders. We haven't gone down them yet. I wanted to see if we could get someone from the outside first. Wait. Down? They go down? The flaming shit. Okay, sweet Dapper Jesus for the Gentleman's Club. Look, I don't want to put any of you at risk, but we need to find you a way out of there. If you can't go back up and you can only go down, send only one man. T3V and Evans are topside and perfectly fine. We're sending a diving crew around the ship exterior to see if we can pinpoint your location inside using thermal. Understood, sir. Contact with T3L was lost after this transmission and remained disconnected for 12 hours. Divers around SCP-455 could not effectively scan the shipwreck, though thermal as the ship exhibited temperatures far higher than the water surrounding it. At sunrise, T3V and Evans were ordered a return to 455 and reinvestigate the ship through the cargo hold. Upon activation of the cargo lights, all missing members of Team 3 were found within the cargo hold in an apparently catatonic state. Only the member Eric, who went missing per the Team 3 recordings, was unaccounted for. All remaining members remained in a state of stasis until removed from the ship and left undisturbed for approximately an hour. All recall moving down the mentioned ladders in the last transmission, but nothing after that point that would lead to them being in the cargo hold. Team 3 exploration ended, and robotic exploration is now a viable option. So that's the first little exploration log of this rusty old ship. So how you guys feeling? You guys have any questions? We're gonna pause for a bit and just chat a little. Everyone didn't fall asleep to my voice. Which would be cute if so. I'll get some water. So if everyone doesn't have any questions, comments, concerns, well, maybe I should give you guys a moment to respond. Chat is very delayed. Very delayed. And do you guys like this where I give you the link to read along, or would you rather I don't do that? If either's fine, then no worries. But I thought you guys might wanna read along. we're almost at an hour already. So the next SCP we're going to read about is one called 2508. And it's this house that's kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. So, let me get some more water. So the interesting thing about this one is it has no object class. It's not safe, it's not Euclid, it's not Keter. It just says none. So 2508. So let me give you guys the link so you can read along if you would like. So this document has no clearance requirements and is exempt from all security precautions by order of 057. Oh, I should tell you guys about the 05 Council. So within the SCP, like, foundation, there of course are the researchers, there are the basic, like, grunts that do the dangerous stuff, the D-class, and then there's something called the 05 Council. So they're in charge of everything, and they're like these shadowy, mysterious beings that may or may not be anomalous themselves, and there's like 13 of them, I think. And yeah, so anything concerning them, it's really important. So if you ever hear about the 05 Council, that's what it is. So let's start. If everyone's ready, we'll start with 2508. So it has no object class because special containment procedures, due to its unusual nature, containment efforts for SCP-2508 are to be focused on its upkeep, research regarding its origin and significance, and maintaining its routines. The current residence is to add their name to the logbook, along with their Foundation ID and occupation. SCP-2508-1 is to be filled every day at noon and should be inspected for cracks or leaks on a monthly basis, with repairs being made accordingly. The hatch in front of SCP-2508-2 is to be closed during bad weather and all of weather. Now, a little informational thing. So the base anomalous thing is the base number, but sometimes there will be instances either inside that SCP or connected to it that are given like a dash number designation. So let's say another SCP I can think of that has that is that it's like this big forest that seems to go on forever, and that's kind of misty, and that's SCP blah 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 blah. I can't remember the number. But then there's like this creature within that forest that's SCP number -1. So that's what those dashes are. It's like extra things that are connected to the main anomalous thing. So yeah, that's what that is. So SCP-2508 is to be kept in good condition. The archives are to be kept organized at all times. Please note that all necessities such as food and medication are restocked daily. Additionally, the current resident is to record any and all findings they come across regarding 2508. They are also encouraged to catalog any thoughts, experiences, or dreams that they deem relevant. It is imperative that these records be concise. Incomplete data and fragments of information are also acceptable, including any knowledge pertaining to fields of study that may be useful to future residents. The current resident is to attempt to maintain a mental state of well-being. For more information on the subject, see the study. Finally, at all times, an up-to-date version of this document is to be kept within a laminated slot located at the table by the door. So, SCP-2508 is a cottage-style house of indeterminate location, as well as its 0.53 kilometers squared of surrounding property. The house has 2 main floors, not including its 1 basement and attic. The manner in which SCP-2508 is discovered by an individual is always unintentional. And past residents have noted coming across the house at varying addresses in separate towns, different countries, and under wildly dissimilar circumstances. Both 2508's builders and original inhabitants, if it can be presumed there were any, are unknown at this time. Only one person is capable of being inside 2508 at any time. As an individual enters, however, they will become incapable of leaving. The reason for this comes from the fact that as one exits the property on one end, they will find themselves arriving at the other end. This looping or recursive geographical space is what prevents escape from 2508. At this point, the reader may be growing aware of the implications of what has just been described. It should be clarified that, as escape from 2508 is impossible, it is not believed to have any real-world location. Sending information to the outside world is not a possibility. Barring an unforeseen scenario, all material regarding 2508, including this document, is confined within 2508 itself. Therefore, if you are reading this document, you are now the current resident of 2508. All of your duties to the Foundation of the outside world are, unofficially, null and void. The current working theory is that the Foundation at large has no knowledge of this place whatsoever. The information presented in this document has not been subject to review by the Foundation as a whole, but instead is the culmination of each individual Foundation member who has lived and died in the isolation of 2508. Herein lies more unexplained characteristics of 2508. All recorded past residents have been Foundation personnel of clearance level 1 or higher. The reason for this remains unclear, but research suggests that, judging from water levels of 2508-1 when new residents arrive, if a resident of 2508 dies, they are replaced by a new one within the same day. Depending on your predecessor's cause of death, you may have some cleaning up to do. Addendum. The record archive in the study has proven to be the most efficient way for cataloging and compiling research for future residents. However, a miscellaneous section was also added at some point to record the thoughts of those trapped here. You may feel free to read up on your predecessors. Provided below is an example intended to prime you for your stay here. Footnotes. Cleaning supplies are in the upstairs bathroom. The previous editor, Dr. Orion, failed to provide an explanation for how this is fatal. I have left it here regardless of the important information. Dr. Arswald, exact date unknown. Okay, so it's just a little 1, 2, 3. So, we've got the excerpt. Oh, we've got -1 and -2 here. So -1 is a wood and metal pump-like device in the attic. The machine has a height of 1 meter and then is fixed to the floor. Water put into the machine is pumped throughout the day to an unknown location via a series of 6 small PVC pipes that run from the bottom end of the machine to a small hole in the wall. If fully filled, SCP 25081 will drain in approximately 30 hours. A plaque built into the device contains the following written message. Please fill this machine once per day at noontime. We cannot arrive with as much haste if the machine runs dry. We hope you understand and trust that you will keep your side of the arrangement now that we have kept ours. Thank you. Failing to fill the machine as instructed appears to have degenerative effects on both 2508 and the individual who lives there. Allowing it to remain empty for a prolonged period of time is believed to be fatal. It is advised that you heed the instruction. And then SCP-2508-2 designates the patch of organic material in the basement. The material is of green coloration with small amounts of red and purple hues. It is not any known species of plant. This material photosynthesize if allowed sunlight through a hatch. Due to the structure of the basement, this hatch is placed slightly above ground level and will occasionally bloom with blue flowers. Some have reported hearing a static sound coming from the object or a faint red glow coming off of it in intermittent pulses. Translated from Morse code, these pulsations read, "Thanks for keeping the plants fed. Hit a snag in traffic, might take a bit longer than expected." Like with -1, the hatch for -2 also has a plaque on it. Its text has been provided below. Please keep this hatch open only in good weather. Please keep it closed for rain, snow, and the chill of winter. Thank you. Spooky house. And spooky things, and you cannot leave. Let's see what we got here. Show excerpt. So, this is an excerpt written by one of the O5 Council, -7. I was driving home when it happened. It was about a 30-minute commute through a lot of back roads, and I was terribly drunk. It was one of those XK class scenario averted, let's celebrate occasions, so I didn't really hesitate to down more than my fair share of wine. When I arrived at my front porch, car askew so that the front tires dug into the dirt on my front lawn, I stumbled for the door. After a great amount of fidgeting, I managed to get my key in the lock and finally got the door open. But then when I looked around, it wasn't my house at all. It was this place. Dumbfounded, I went back outside. Surely, I thought, I'd accidentally entered another house in my drunken stupor. But now, even the outside was as expected. The suburban-urban environment had shifted to a countryside. My car was still there, sitting on the asphalt road, which was now a dirt road. Everything was different, and it was never quite the same. That was all 23 years ago. No doubt my position as O5 was replaced long, long ago, and here I am, having found startlingly few answers. Every once in a while, I'll find an old shoe or a photograph of someone who came before me, and I'm reminded how we're all chained together in an oblivious and obligatory service to this place. Lately, the clouds keep rolling in, and the plants in the basement are buzzing more than usual. I hear the gurgling of water draining through the pipes in the walls from that old dusty machine, and sometimes I try to find where that water goes. I think it goes out beyond the house, into the grassy field in front of the swing set. When I lay on the grass sometimes, if I listen very closely and everything else is quiet, I swear I can hear noises coming from far below the ground. They sound like some kind of clockwork mechanism, its gears quietly humming. I don't know what it means, and I don't think I ever will. Undoubtedly, the most puzzling thing about this place is really quite a small feature. There's a computer terminal in the study, and it looks like it's one of the oldest things in the house. It's clearly foundation, but it's unsettling to say the least. We would have known about this if the foundation knew, I'm sure. But if that's truly the case, then it still doesn't explain how the anomaly got its number designation. Is it arbitrary, or is it actually cataloged in the outside world? I don't think it's possible to know from here. Sometimes I feel like I'm waiting for something, or for someone. It's not for someone to save me, but it's as if I'm waiting to meet someone here. I dream of what that meeting might be, or why it might be in the first place. But somewhere deep down, I know that I will almost certainly die here, and this long wait will be passed down to another, to continue waiting with bated breath for something. Though what exactly that something is, we can't be sure of. Maybe someday I'll learn how the food gets restocked. Written by 05-7. So there is a story connected to this called Convergence. So so there was a little 2 above. When you don't fill that one machine, which is -1, allowing it to remain empty of water, it's believed to be fatal. And then there's a little note, the footnote, number 2, the previous editor, Dr. Ryan, failed to provide inspiration for why not filling the machine is fatal. I've left it here regardless, as it is important information, and there is a story connected to that called Convergence. So, how is everyone feeling before we move on? Anybody got any questions, concerns so far? Just checking in with you guys. Oh, we're still on SCP 2508. It is like this anomalous house in the middle of nowhere. So there's a little story connected to it called Convergence. And I'm going to go ahead with that if everyone's ready. Omehiga! Hello, baby. Hello, hello. We're just reading some SCP stories. If you have any questions, if you don't know what SCP is, I will catch you up. And anybody else who comes into chat, I just finished reading about the next anomaly. The SCP series is pretty complicated. I'm thinking maybe I should have saved it for maybe the last of this, but oh well. Hopefully you guys are still enjoying just listening to my voice, even if you're a little confused, and you're welcome to ask me questions at any time if you're ever confused about anything. But it is a collaborative horror storytelling website pretty much about this fictional foundation still based on planet Earth. And it's about how they contain these anomalous things, whether objects, whether people, whether creatures, and how they keep the world safe by keeping these things secret. But there are other organizations within this universe that sometimes want people to know about these anomalous things. Sometimes they want to destroy these things. But the main... sorry guys. The main SCP Foundation just wants to contain, as it stands for, secure, contain, protect, and research all these different anomalous things. So, I read the introductory thing. If you guys want to go back to the VOD or go to an earlier link, I give you guys all the links to read along with me if you'd like. Right now we're reading this story, which is linked to another SCP. It's like this abandoned house in the middle of nowhere. So yes, if everybody's ready, we'll proceed with that. Plague Doctor, yes, I love the Plague Doctor too. He's so cool. And I do want to play the game SCP Containment Breach on stream someday. I definitely want to play that for you guys. But yes, I love the Plague Doctor too. 049. I'm glad you know SCP, Mahiga. A lot of people do, but a lot of people also don't. So I thought this would be an interesting thing to introduce to you guys. But yeah, the one we're reading right now is 2508, which is the abandoned house, the farmhouse, that's anomalous and weird. And you're stuck there if you go inside of it. And it's like, too bad, you're stuck here forever now. Har har har. At least one person has to be in charge of it. So the story connected to this is called Convergence. Lilibeth Orion was sitting on the swing set, lazily kicking her feet back and forth. It was autumn, and the trees were beginning to shed themselves of leaves. Their delicate descent from the branches to the ground had turned the landscape beautiful shades of orange and red, welcoming the changing seasons. She wasn't as spry as when she first came here, those many years ago. Her once precise hands now shook when she wrote down her observations of the constellations. Her transition to living at 2508 had not changed her fascination with space, nor her degree in astrophysics. Sometimes, during quiet evenings before making dinner, Lilibeth would sit outside, as she did now, and watch the sunset. The swirls of flaming color would descend with that massive luminous spear till it gave way to the cool touch of the night. Different shades of somniferous blues and black would seep through the horizon until all appeared still and all was quiet. This time, however, things were slightly different. She was steeling herself. The lull of gears turning beneath the surface of the field was clearer than it had been in times past, as the sound escaped from a small hole in the ground no bigger than 2 meters in diameter. With months upon months of arduous tunneling behind her, she'd finally broken her way into some kind of structure. She hadn't entered it yet. She needed to work up the nerve. Perhaps it was time. Lilibeth had not anticipated having to build a pulley system and makeshift elevator, but it had come in handy in the later stages of moving the rock and earth from the field. As the old scientist descended into the darkness, the metallic clanking of clockwork became all the more noticeable. Finally, her junky elevator hit a metal grated floor. With her flashlight clenched tightly in her hand, she stepped out into the tunnel. Her lights scanned over the interior, copper-colored walls, rusted metal pipes, and wiring. It was clear that something was below the great floor, but her flashlight could not see the bottom. There was no way of telling how far down the place actually went. One thing was certain, though, and that was that the noise was becoming much louder. Lilibeth could feel the walls vibrate ever so slightly when she put her hand to them. When she removed it, her palm came away coated in a black grease. The flashlight was Lilibeth's solitary source of light here. The air was humid and filthy, blowing through a series of vents above her. She followed the tunnel, turning toward the noise when it presented her with intersection. With the turning of the gears, the walls hummed all around, and the grating buzzed below. It was trance-like. A brief investigation revealed half a dozen empty rooms throughout the tunnel system, with dirty and chipped tiled floors. There was little indication anyone had ever been there. That was not the interesting thing, though. The interesting thing was what lay at the end of one of the halls. There stood a large metal door, which seemed to be opened via a rusty crank on the wall. Its old surface still sported the remnants of a label. Tower. This was undoubtedly where all the noise was coming from, but now there was another noise accompanying the gear, and it was the sound of rushing water. With hesitation, Lilibeth turned the crank, and the door opened. Inside the spear-shaped room, she could see that she was still on a small catwalk, albeit one with stairs, that looked over the source of the now deafening noise. The machine in question was about 50 or so gears, huge ones and small ones, bronze ones and silver ones, long chains of them connected to various bits of machinery and tubing that Lilibeth couldn't wrap her head around. All in all, the device was 2 stories tall, descending downward further into the dark. Lilibeth made her way down the small flight of stairs to the concrete base of the room. She was awestruck by the intensity and complexity of what she was looking at. Pipes labeled FR out connected to immense opaque containers that churned with liquid as the gears moved smaller bits of strange equipment. Layers upon layers of metal plates spun around beams, and tiny lifts no bigger than a book carried cylindrical canisters down from a small hole in the ceiling to a small one in the floor. Directly above her head, several of the canisters were transported through the room via pneumatic tubes. The old scientist was lost for words. All she could do was stare at what was now in front of her. She was almost about ready to turn back when she spotted a narrow corridor tucked into the corner of the room. It wasn't the same copper color of the rest of the complex, but instead was made of cobblestone lined with pipes coming from the machine and the walls themselves. Upon entering the room, it could have been mistaken for spacious sewer, a river made of stone bordered by walkways and little bridges. But it wasn't a sewer. It didn't smell like one, and the water flowing from the evenly spaced pipes in the wall looked crystal clear. At the far end of the room, the water fell past a grate into what could have very well been an unending darkness. The pipes were separated into groups of 6 small PVC pipes. All trickled a very slow stream of water, and all sets of 6 were marked by a wooden board next to it with some kind of identification. Lilibeth read the names as she traversed the walkway. Number 322, Project Avalon. 91-XSM, Slothering, KPI-AN4, number 18504, and finally, SCP-2508. Lilibeth's heart skipped a beat as the information sank in. There were more. As always, when I finish, you guys are welcome to ask me questions. Just chat with me for a little bit before I move on to the next one. And also, if you guys have requests, like if you guys are familiar with SCP and you want me to read a specific article, just let me know. And I will be glad to read. But I have picked out some very, like, specific ones that I really like and that are spooky. Like, the next one I'm going to read is SCP-354, and it's the blood lake that goes down and down and down. And it's in Canada. Oh boy! This are spooky. Has some nice exploration logs for us to enjoy here. I'm wondering if you know what I think? If I read you guys the stories first and then read the SCP. Maybe I should have done it like that. well, learn for next time. I think that's what I'll do with the next few. Because I have 3 more, I think. But yeah, as I said, you guys are welcome to request SCPs for me to read if you're familiar with the series. But if you guys are just wanting to relax and just listen to me read, that's fine too. Oh, and the next one is really, really good. It's SCP-3000, which is a really big jump in numbers, but there, like I said before, there are thousands and thousands of SCPs. Although, actually, I think I'll read this one next because it's a little bit shorter. And then we'll do 3000. Oh, one of my absolute favorites is Daybreak. It's one of the proposals for 001, which maybe we'll get to today. It's really cool, though. And yeah, as always, if you guys have any questions about anything at all, no matter how simple, please ask. Don't feel dumb about asking questions, ever. There's no such thing as a dumb question. We all gotta learn sometime. But if everyone is ready, this time I'm gonna start with the exploratory log and then tell you guys about the SCP. So, because I notice when I tell you guys about the SCP, you guys have kind of a background about it. And I don't know, I think it might be more fun to read you guys the story of what happens first and then tell you guys what the SCP is. So I'm gonna try that for 354, which I'll at least tell you what 354 is. It's Keter, so it's incredibly difficult to contain. It's a pool of red liquid discovered in northern Canada. This liquid is of a consistency similar. Oh, maybe I shouldn't tell you guys what it is. Oh, maybe it'll come up in the story. Oh. So it's this deep red pool in Canada. And there is a picture on the page, so you guys can see when I link it to you. I wish I could just drop pictures into chat. But yeah, so I'm going to start with the little exploratory mission log. And I will kind of try to do voices. I won't do too many different voices because I'm not great at that yet. But if there are voices, because sometimes the logs are people just talking back and forth and stuff. So this was an expedition sent to explore 354. And this is Exploratory Mission 354 Alpha. And it's the personal log of Dr. Redacted. It's a big black thing. So I'm going to give you guys a link if you want to read along with me. Ta-da! So here we go. Let me get some water. You guys make sure to stretch and stay hydrated too. Actually, I'm going to stretch. That's probably a good idea. We got 173 hanging out with us and for Brosie. Okay. So, this is the exploration mission of 354 Alpha from the personal log of Dr. We don't know, it's redacted. It's been crossed out. Our expedition to explore 354, that gaping wound in the middle of Canada, has finally been accepted. The R&D boys have come up with what can only be described as a submarine with a drill on it. We know that the pool gets denser as you go down, so we suspect that at some point we won't be sinking so much as digging, hence the huge mining device built onto it. It's not hydrodynamic at all, but we're really not going swimming here. My gut tells me that it's something to do... My gut tells me that there's something on the other side of the red pool, and just digging down, up to China, all we have to do is dig down, up to it. Sorry, guys. So, had a nice long debate with 05-Redacted over who's allowed to come. I wanted MTF Omega 7 to come with us for protection, or at least SCP-076, but they won't allow it. By the way, 076 is Catter. I think this is Cain or Abel. Is this Abel? Yeah, he's a really dangerous humanoid, anomalous humanoid that is really strong. So that's who 076 is. But they won't allow it. Despite the massive damages he continues to cause, they still see him as too valuable to risk losing. Not that he isn't, you know, immortal or anything. Maybe they just didn't have the guts to ask him to go exploring. Ackler, that ass, wanted us to take SCP-redacted with us, but I wouldn't allow it. The file says that SCP was just born before he came through, so he'd be useless as a guide. He might be of some use as security, but that's mostly cancelled out by the fact that he's data expunged. He'd probably just blank anyway. And yes, you guys, for anyone new to SCP, sometimes they're like big black things, like just blanking out things. That's just how it goes. It's part of the mystery of what's going on. You can kind of guess what they're talking about. The final crew complement, apart from myself, consists of 3 agents, 2 D-class personnel, 1 geologist, and some guy from R&D is going to pilot the ship. I already forgot all their names. Exploratory Team 354-Alpha, Mission Log, Day 1. Rotten sort of day to begin a mission. Rumor has it that last night there was a total containment breach in some area or other, and it turns out there's no coffee allowed anywhere inside of Area 354 for some reason or another, and the whole mission almost ended in disaster when it turns out that they almost forgot to load the extra fuel on board. Who the fuck is running this show around here? Anyway, we're now underway. For a while there, I had a definite feeling of going downward, but now we're dropping much more slowly. Marty, that's the R&D guy's name, says we're sinking at a rate of 10 meters an hour. Apparently at this depth, the red pool is pretty damn dense. Mission log, day 2. Nothing of interest happened, but I learned everyone's names. We have Marty, our pilot, Agent Swanson, Agent Turquoise, Agent 86, Dr. J. MacArthur, Chris Simmons, and Leroy Tucker. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Day 3 log. At about 4:30 a.m., gravity suddenly changed direction. Boy, that was a fun way to wake up. We're now rising rather than sinking, which means we're more than halfway there. Mission log day 4. We've reached the surface. Through the portholes, it's mostly dark, which means it's night. We can't go out yet because for all we know, the atmosphere could be hydrochloric acid. We've got a shitload of sensors outside the ship analyzing a bunch of stuff, whether the air is breathable, what kind of airborne bacteria we have to deal with, and simple stuff like temperature. We'll know in 8 hours whether it's safe for human life out there. Mission log, day 5. Turns out the air is totally safe. Except it's been night for going on 28 hours now. What's going on? Mission log, day 6. Dawn finally came. The sun was huge and red. I'm a biologist, but I know enough about astronomy to know that we're orbiting a totally different star. Is this a different time, a different place, or a different dimension? Leroy guessed that we're in another plane of existence, and I think he's probably closest. The pool at this side is way bigger, more like a large pond or maybe a small lake. The banks are more defined than on our side as well. We took an inflatable raft to the shore, Marty and Simmons stayed behind, and headed north. The ground here, or at least around the pool, is almost totally devoid of plant life. The only green we saw was a sort of fuzzy moss growing on the ground that looked more like a kind of mold. The ground is grayish tan dirt that's like a mixture of sand and flour. MacArthur said it was some mineral or another. I forgot what he called it. I half expected all of our electronics to not work out here, but that wasn't the first thing to fail. After about 2 hours of hiking across flat, boring ground, the compass suddenly changed direction. Now it points to what we had previously thought to be east. Evidently this planet's magnetics, if it's even a planet, don't work the same way ours do. Not wanting to risk getting lost, we immediately made a 180 and headed back to the ship. I could have sworn the trip back was less than half as long as the trip out. Tomorrow we'll work out a way of navigation that doesn't rely on the compass being sane. Mission log, day 7. Lousy night's sleep. The sun never went down. By my calculation, the day-night cycle here seems to last about 43 and a half hours, as opposed to 24 hours back home. It's going to take some getting used to. We'd agreed on a system of navigation. Firstly, we're going to travel only in a straight line, to make sure that we can get back to the ship by simply turning around and heading in the other direction. Unless we encounter some kind of unnavigatable jungle, we should be fine. Secondly, Marty's rigged a radio beacon thing. I don't really remember his explanation, but we're anywhere within 800 miles, his little gizmo will be able to tell us exactly which direction to go to get back and how far. Mission log, day 9. We set out a few hours before the sun was scheduled to rise, but when we got to the shore, we found that the green moss stuff was everywhere. It had grown in mass significantly. My guess is the stuff shrivels up in the sun during the day, expands at night to suck in nutrients or something. We decided we didn't want to walk through it, so we went back and waited for sunrise. Sun came up and we set out again. The moss stuff was back to its smaller state. It just occurred to me that there's been no wind at all in this place. The result is dead silence. I'm not ashamed to admit that the overall emptiness of this place is pretty scary. We found an area with none of the moss stuff for a few hundred feet around and decided to camp for the night. The sun is still up, but it's time for us humans to sleep, so I'm calling it night. Mission log, day 10. Sometime in the night, which was really daytime, fuck, this is gonna get confusing. We were all woken by some kind of roar. You remember what the T-Rex sounded like in that old movie Jurassic Park? It sounded a lot like that, big and reptilian. It was so loud that I was certain whatever was making it couldn't be more than 20 feet away. But when we all got out of our tents, we didn't see anything. The whole area is so flat that we'd see any sort of animal within half a mile or so, but there was nothing. Fucking scary. We packed up camp and continued on. After a while, we stopped seeing the moss stuff. Maybe it only grows around the red pool. And then the ground became rockier. In the distance, the land seems to grow more hilly. I think I see trees? Mission log, day 11. The bare ground has ended. Now we're walking across a vast field of beautiful green grass. It almost looks like a well-mown lawn. The grass seems ordinary enough until Turquoise tripped over a rock and arose to find his hands covered with several dozen bloody pinpricks. Apparently the tip of a blade of this grass is incredibly sharp and easily punctures skin. It's no threat to our Foundation issue boots, but we must all be careful not to fall on it. We came to a tiny stream, really no more than a trickle. Swanson suggested we could refill our canteens, but Leroy and MacArthur wanted to check the water for something or another first. MacArthur took out some equipment, and after a few minutes announced that it was not water, but liquid carbon dioxide. CO2 is usually a gas at this temperature, and it's never a liquid. The laws of physics don't seem to be working right. Oh, we skipped a few days here. Because that was day 11, and now it's mission log, day 14. Haven't had time to record anything for a few days. We made it to an area sparsely populated by trees. The grass there was withered and brown, not sharp enough to pierce the skin anymore. The trees were ordinary, looked like birch, but the leaves were wrong. At some point we lost Swanson. This place is so quiet that none of us really feel comfortable talking, so we had no idea when we lost him. There's a good 8-hour window where he could have gone missing. We called to him, but none of us wanted to split up to look for him. During the night, a tree fell on 86's tent. He wasn't hurt and none of the gear was damaged, although the tent got mangled beyond repair. 86 swears that the tree hadn't been that close when he pitched the thing, and none of us can tell what caused it to fall. The trunk just snapped. We all agreed not to pinch our tents anywhere near a tree from now on. The next day, which was really nighttime, we heard the same roar from a few days ago. It sounded the exact same as before, and again we have no idea what made the sound, and none of us can even agree which direction it came from. Then it started to rain. We all pitched our tents for the night, this time a whole lot closer together than we had before. The nearest tree is about 300 feet away. MacArthur confirmed that it was actual rain and not more CO2 bullshit, and we set up this funnel thing to refill our canteens. Leroy donated his tent to Agent 86, and I offered to share mine since it's a little bigger than the other guys. I asked Leroy what he did to wind up as a D class. He said he assaulted a couple of people. I think he might have been trying to freak me out, but who knows. Anyway, he's one of the most well-behaved D classes I've ever met, so I don't think he's going to say, assault me in my sleep. Mission log, day 17. Good God, the rain has finally stopped. Everything is soaking wet, including us, except for the ground. After that much water, you expect it to be muddy as all hell, but the ground beneath the grass is barely damp at all. Perhaps the plants absorb moisture from the ground more efficiently than the ones back home. We're setting out again. Perhaps the rain awakens some animal life. Data corrupt. Whoa. Sion log, day 25. What seemed to be a huge cliff in the distance turned out to be an artificially constructed wall. It's made of solid rusty iron and stands maybe 50 feet high. To the left and to the right, it goes on further than the eye can see. Farther. I can't imagine how thick it is. We have no way around it. We'll have to go over it or through it. We made camp for the night. We'll work out what to do in the morning. Mission log, day 26. Leroy jury-rigged some kind of blowtorch thing with our equipment. I swear, this guy is fucking MacGyver. We cut a hole in the iron wall big enough for us to go through. It turns out it's only 1/4 of an inch thick, but there's another wall behind it with less than a foot between. Apparently this thing has multiple layers. Leroy cut through 8 of them before we finally made it to the other side. The grass on this side is black. Not burnt or anything, it's just a different color. And finally, there's some wind! I was getting tired of data corrupt. Concluded that some coming here was a mistake. We have to turn back. Mission log, day 39. We passed through the second barrier and back to the weird place with the black grass. I half expected the hole Leroy cut through it to have sealed up or something, but it was still there. Thank God, whoever runs the show in this world. Or whatever. I don't think MacArthur is going to make it through the night. He lost a lot of blood. Mission log, day 40. We awoke to find that MacArthur had crossed. We didn't want to do it, but we had no choice but to terminate him. 86 said that something back home might be able to help him, and he may have been right, but we couldn't afford to have him slow us down. We only have a few more days, and data corrupt. Day 48. We made it back to the ship with only an hour or two to spare. The first thing they asked us was what the fuck has happened to Swanson, Turquoise, MacArthur, and 86. As if a few dead team members are our biggest problem right now. Marty has us underway and we're definitely sinking. I just hope they don't... Data corrupt. End of log. This document has been discovered in the Central Foundation database. No such mission to explore SCP-354 has yet been suggested or approved. No records of any personnel mentioned in this log exist. The log's origin is unknown. Oh, I got a little bit of a shiver. Oh no. Now, after that story, do you guys have any questions? I will read you the actual entry for the SCP, which is 354. Ta-da. So, it's Keter, once again, which means it's extremely hard to contain. Its special procedures to containment are, due to its immobile nation, Area -354 has been built around it. Area 354 houses forces and D-class personnel prepared to deal with threats emerging from 354, as well as researchers studying it and its properties. For their own safety, no on-site personnel are to approach 354 at any time. Direct interaction with 354 is permitted only for the purpose of research to eliminate it and must be approved by O5 Council, or personnel. Area 354 was constructed to contain and neutralize any and all further threats emerging from it. At the heart of the Area 354, a 20-foot wall of concrete reinforced with data expunged has been constructed around it to prevent emerging entities from escaping into the area at large. High-speed motion detection cameras are placed atop the wall looking down into the pool, and armed guards can easily shoot down into the enclosure from catwalks placed above the pool. SCP-354 is a pool of red liquid discovered in northern Canada. The liquid is of a consistency similar to that of human blood, hence the colloquial name blood pond, but is not of a biological nature. The pool does not have definite banks. Soil mixes with the liquid until at a certain point there's more soil than liquid and the ground is mostly solid. The liquid becomes denser as one descends deeper into the pool. If the pool has a bottom, it has yet to be reached. Periodically, entities emerge from the pool and attempt to escape from the enclosure. Thus far, nearly all creatures emerging from SCP-354 have been extremely hostile and highly dangerous. 354 is believed to have been first discovered in Redacted by survivors of a plane crash who encountered it by chance. 354 had developed into a local urban legend long before Foundation personnel arrived to deal with the threat. After locating the source of the legend, SCP personnel set up Watch Station Epsilon-38 to monitor the pool and to deter further travelers from finding it. But 354 was classified as Euclid until its properties were further discovered. At 1403 hours on Redacted, an unidentified entity emerged from 354. Contact with Watch Station Epsilon-38 was lost. Mobile Task Force Redacted was dispatched to deal with the entity and were eventually successful. All personnel at Watch Station Epsilon-38 were found dead. Area 354 was subsequently constructed to contain SCP-354. Partial log of entities to have emerged prior to Event 354-30-1. Original entity which destroyed Watch Station Epsilon-38 resembled a giant bat, neutralized by Mobile Task Force Redacted. 354-2. Bear-sized mammalian creature covered in razor-sharp spines, resembled an echidna, was virtually bulletproof but was unable to escape the enclosure surrounding the pool, neutralized via napalm. 354-3. Black metallic spear capable of levitation. Emitted concentrated levels of radiation in precisely directed beams sufficient to instantly cripple and later result in death. Then Area Head Dr. Redacted struck 354-3 with a sledgehammer, disabling it. -3 then self-detonated, causing minor structural damage and severely wounding Dr. Redacted. Dr. Redacted made a full recovery and has been commended for his bravery. SCP-354-4. Humanoid reptilian creature, approximately 4.6 meters or 15 feet tall. Escaped both the walled enclosure and Area 354 altogether. Gunfire caused very little physical harm and was highly ineffective. Mobile Task Force Omega-7, Pandora's Box, was dispatched and was successful in neutralizing the creature. 354-5. Data expunged. 354-6. Appears to be a human male of Indian descent. As the enclosure around the pool had not yet been fully repaired, 354-6 was immediately shot before it had a chance to escape. Area Head Dr. Redacted has expressed his displeasure in the rash execution of 354-6, which testing revealed to be identical to an average human being. Data corrupt. And we're missing the entries from 7 to 13, and then it skips to -14. Majority of creature's body remain well beneath the surface of the pool. 5 octopus-like tentacles were seen emerging from the pool and reached up over the enclosure. Several D-class personnel were grabbed by the tentacles and pulled back beneath the surface of the pool. After receiving massive damage from gunfire, -14 retreated back into the pool and disappeared. No personnel taken by the creature were recovered. We have -15. Feline creature composed of a blue-hued crystalline structure later revealed to be ice, was able to jump above the walled enclosure and was agile enough to dodge most gunfire, was actively hostile and mauled any personnel that engaged it. Subject engaged 354-16 upon its emergence from the pool and was terminated in the fight. -16, feline creature composed of a dark red black stone later revealed to be partially solidified magma, not magna. Gunfire proved mostly ineffective against its hide, was not hostile to personnel, and did not attempt to escape the walled enclosure until being engaged by -15. Successfully terminated -15 and grew less active as its body cooled. After fully solidifying and having remained motionless since, subject was moved to Dr. Redacted's office for aesthetic purposes. And it skips one, and then it goes to -18. Metallic humanoid machine described by several D-class personnel as a Terminator. Subject possessed a cloaking device rendering it invisible to human eyes. Subject was highly adept at combat and killed nearly 90% of Area 354's guard personnel as it rampaged through the facility. Approximately 60 minutes after emerging from the pool, subject ceased function and powered down. Subject was dismantled and its power cell was disposed of. Subject's remains are under study. Note from area head Dr. Redacted. That's thrice now that we've had to fall back on Pandora's box to deal with stuff coming out of 354. Abel can't complain though. You can tell he enjoyed fighting 354-11. Maybe we should set up some kind of hotline to MTF Omega 7? Log of exploratory to Mission Alpha, which I already read to you guys. Note from area head Dr. Redacted. It has been 22 months since the last entity emerged from the pool. Before this, the longest period of time between emergences was 8 months. I suspect this means one of two things. Either the red pool has died or powered down or whatever the correct term for it is, or it is charging up for something big to come through. O5 believes the former is the most likely explanation. It has recalled 30% of our total personnel and cut 25% of our funding. Well, I can only hope that they're correct. If the latter situation is true, we're starting to face some terrible monstrosity and we won't have anywhere near the force necessary to deal with it. I worry for all of our safety. Document 354-4, event log 354-20. In the morning of data expunged, the entire staff of Area 354 evacuated the facility. However, the staff also shut down the power to the area and took a number of supplies and vehicles from the facility, indicating that the evacuation had not been done due to an emergency. Mobile Task Force Theta 12 was dispatched to investigate the cause of the evacuation and, if possible, make contact with area's staff. However, before MTF Theta 12 could make contact with the area or its evacuees, the on-site warhead was detonated, resulting in the destruction of the entire facility in the deaths of data expunged. MTF Theta 12 was ordered to make contact with the evacuated personnel and in the event of hostility was given clearance to terminate any uncooperative personnel. A large convoy of vehicles taken from Area 354 was spotted heading southward at a high speed. Final audio logs from MTF Theta indicate that the convoy was made up of staff and the previous chain of command had broken down in its entirety, with armed D-class personnel and research personnel firing upon MTF Theta 12. The MTF was annihilated and no further contact with the former personnel of Area 354 has been made since. Document 354-5. Following the total destruction of the area, the Red Pool containment site was constructed in its place. Basic maps of the new facility can be found in Redacted and Redacted. Unlike the previous facility, which has focused on research and neutralization of entities emerging from 354, the new facility is devoted entirely to the containment and entities which may emerge from it, as well as any unforeseen forces which it may create directly. This is due largely to the advisement of the new site head, Data Expunged, who believes that the events of log 354-20 were the result of a psychic or mental attack generated by 354 itself. Document -6. Interview regarding Data Expunged. Doctor. Is it alright if I record this? Agent. Yes, go ahead. Good. So, let's start at the beginning. What happened at the Red Pool containment site? Looking back now, it seems strange that nobody ever suggested draining the pool. When the doctor came up with it, it seemed like such a good idea at the time. Exactly what about the idea was so appealing? It was a way out. That SCP entry, I read what it said. It's a joke. It makes it seem like we have the pool under control. I take it you do not? There's a half-meter slab of reinforced concrete in place over the pool, and yet every time some beast tries to come through somehow, it manages to get loose into the building. People die every single time. I've seen data expunged. A man his own intestines. Can you imagine what that looks like, old man? So to you, and of course to the other people stationed at Red Pool containment site as well, draining the pool seems like a fine solution to the suffering caused by 354. A chair scrapes as the agent stands up. Suffering? That thing doesn't just... Please. Sit down. This is going on record. There's a pause as the agent says. So, O5 approved the draining of 354. And then what happened? They evacuated the non-essential personnel to a location a couple kilometers away, leaving just basic defense crew and the people who'd run the equivalent. Mostly D-class plus a few agents to keep things going. And you were among those agents? Yes. How did they go about draining the pool? Tech guys brought in this big pump thing with all these hoses. We retracted the slab, but... Have you ever had a dream where it seemed so real that you knew you were dreaming and it felt like you had to wake up to escape from it? I can't say I have. Yes, you have. We all have. That's what it felt like when they put the hose in to try to drain it. Everything stopped being real. It was like we had to escape right now. And you were the only one feeling this sensation? No. Everyone had it at the same time. It came from the fucking pool. Please, lower your voice. What happened when they activated the pump? We never did. We couldn't. It wouldn't let us. What wouldn't let you? The pool! Please, I asked you to lower your voice. Up until now, it's been content just throwing monsters at us. It's been playing. But now, we have it locked up, and we try to execute it. Now it's angry! To the PA. Guards, please restrain agent. The agent. My buddy measured its bank swans and compared them to the photos from its first discovery. You know what he found? Agent grabs the doctor. Guards! It's growing! The pool is growing! It gets bigger and stronger every day, and now we've made it angry. Get your hands off! Sedate him. We'll continue this in the morning, if he's lucid by then anyway. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. There you go, guys. That was the 354. SCP-354, the red pool up in Canada somewhere. For that, we read an exploratory log. How's everyone doing? Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns? And also, if you guys have any requests, just let me know. But if not, I'll proceed with the next one, which is SCP-3300. And for anyone who's new, no, you don't have to read these in order. They're all like standalone like little entries. As long as you know about like the base foundation and, you know, kind of the base background of the universe, then you can enjoy any of them. In any order you please. I still have so many of them to read because they are up to the 8 series 8. So there are 8,000 SCPs now, which is crazy. It's a lot of boys to read about. Well, they're not necessarily boys. I just have that funny way of talking. That's a lot of guys. That's a lot of anomalous thingies. I'll give you guys a moment to respond. And remember, as always, if you like the video, don't forget to like it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you enjoy my content, I don't just do little spooky story readings. I play a lot of different video games, horror games, Elder Scrolls games, other stuff that I find interesting. But yeah, we do some ASMR, just the RP or storytelling type. And yeah, don't forget to comment if you want. You can reach me on Twitter. I've got my Twitter in the link below. And don't forget to read the rules down below. It's basic stuff, but yeah. So if everyone's ready, we will move on to the next story. Just giving you guys a moment to respond if you want to.
Okay, so we're gonna start. This one doesn't have like a separate story. It has the story like contained right in the SCP entry. Now, what I might do is I might start with the story and then the entry. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I won't link this one. So I'll start with the little story so it's more mysterious, and then I'll read you guys the SCP after, because I think that's a really good way to do it. So it's like you guys can more wonder and start to put pieces together, and then I tell you what this SCP is. But if you guys want spoilers and want to look it up, it is SCP-3300, and it is Euclid, which means it's in the middle. It's not too hard to contain, but it's also not super easy to contain. So, yep. So, let me start with the little story. So once again, SCP stories are usually set in our universe, like usually in modern, like Earth setting. So just be aware of that. It's kind of more on that side of things as far as spooky stuff goes. But yeah, I will start with the little story. And if you guys are all ready, I'll go ahead with that one. Hey, if Kurt Cobain kept a journal, it can't be that bad of an idea, right? Help express my artistic side or something. Finally get all the writing I've wanted to done. I don't know. Mom said it might be a good way for me to focus things, which means she just wants an easy way to snoop and make sure I'm staying clean. Joke's on her, though, if she ever thinks she's going to be able to find this. Still, I guess it could be nice to have something to look back on. Hopefully to remind myself that things get better. There's a dream I've been having, which is weird because I don't usually remember my dreams. But I've had this one like 3 times in the past week. In it, I'm not myself. I'm in a small hut, standing above the bed where my daughter lies. Her skin is red, blotchy, hot. I'm praying that the disease won't take her, praying that she will recover or that this is some other sickness. It's no use, I know. The corpse of my husband won't let me forget. Another of the healthy, a boy who thinks himself a man, calls us together. The few that remain. I gaze around the room and see the same expressions on their faces that I feel in my heart. All except the boy's. He grins as we enter and gestures to the bowl of water in front of him. I have found it, he says. The key to our salvation. And then it ends. Weird, right? No idea what to make of it. Anyway, I'm heading to Sam's, so this will be it for the day. Gray clouds on the horizon. We need the rain. I can't remember what the sun looks like. Joking, but it's been drizzling for 3 days and it doesn't look like it's gonna let up soon. Phones are patchy as hell too. Radio says we can expect the weather to continue for at least a week. David tried to come earlier today and I told him fuck right back off to the ditch he crawled out of. That I didn't care how good the shit he's gotten his hands on was. He did his whole kicked puppy dog routine but eventually left before Mom noticed, thank God. The rain's kind of relaxing, actually. It's got a rhythm to it. I could get used to this. I don't think it's ever stormed this hard in my life. It's 2 in the afternoon, but looking outside, you swear it was midnight. My throat is starting to get sore from shouting over the noise. No idea what the hell happened. One minute it was drizzling, the next someone flipped a switch to dump the entire Pacific Ocean onto our heads. Internet and phone are completely down. The few seconds of clear radio we can get is just a barrage of tornado and flood warnings. Nothing to do but hole up inside and see how many games of Monopoly we can play until Mom kills me, or I kill myself. I swear, some of the people in this town must be absolutely insane, because sometimes when lightning flashes, I can see them walking around outside. Some of them just standing there. I'm riding this from the back of Jared's van, and we're going like 80 miles an hour down the highway, and Isabel's crying next to me, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. I think I'm going to die. I'm going to keep riding though. My hand shakes less when I write. Could have been more than an hour ago that this happened. We were all at my place. Sam, Jared, Mike, and Isabel had all come over. I hadn't expected them, but Jared insisted he wasn't going to let something tiny like a biblical flood stop us from exploring the bottom levels of the dreadlich Arsganos domain. Stupid. So we rolled up and started playing like everything was normal. Sam was DMing with the stupid little monster accents she does. Isabel and Mike arguing every scrap of treasure and possible trap we come across. D&D. Jared straggling just to keep us all from killing each other. Mom in the other room pretending she wasn't listening in.
It was Isabel who first noticed the banging on the door, like someone trying to break it down. At first we weren't sure what to do. I mean, anyone banging that hard on your door so late is going to be suspicious, even if there's not a fucking hurricane outside, right? So we just sort of sat there staring at each other until Jared got up and grabbed a poker from the fireplace and went to check the peephole. I wonder what his first thought was. Surprise? Confusion? Did he just accept it like I did? Too stunned by the weirdness to question when he opened the door and saw family on our porch? A mom, a dad, 2 kids. I'd never seen any of them before. For a second, we all just stared at each other, and then the dad shoved past Jared and said, "Why are you in my house?" Mom had come out of her room when she first heard the knocking. When the guy said that, she flipped out instantly. "What do you mean your house, asshole? This is my house. What the hell are you just doing barging in here? I swear to God, you've got 10 seconds before I get the cops over here." God, I remember being annoyed, embarrassed, wishing she wouldn't flip out over everything. The dad's expression didn't change. He just stepped forward again, and Jared tried to hold him back. When he did, the dad just flung him, snagged Jared by the collar, and tossed him through the living room into the kitchen. Jared smacked into a counter and went limp, and then the dad said again in the exact tone, "Why are you in my house?" That was when Mom charged him with a golf club. She barely had time to react before she swung it into his chest. Or he barely had time. OBS reconnected. Is everything okay, guys? OBS just dropped for a moment. Okay, I think we're back. Let me reread there. The guy didn't look a bit hurt, not even fazed. The club was stuck in his chest, and the skin around it was rippling, like when you throw a stone into a pond. Water dripped out from where the metal entered skin. Mom stared. Then she screamed, fell back, scrambling at the floor to get away. The man looked down at the club with the same expression you might look at a dead cockroach. He grasped it right below where it speared into him, yanked it from his chest, held it as he walked towards Mom. She stopped moving the first time he hit her in the head. She just fell like a rock, and he hit her again and again. And again the whole time he was saying, my house, in the same fucking tone. The only fucking way he knew how to speak, and the kids were staying at home just watching, and the wife was holding them close, and I swear to God she was smiling. Sam stood up like she was going to charge the guy, but Mike wrapped himself around her and said, "Don't." Then we had to run, so we did. Mike and Sam grabbed Jared, even though he wasn't moving, and I grabbed the journal without even thinking about it, and I don't really remember anything at all after that, except Sam driving and crying and Mike screaming, and all I could think about was the way Mom's body looked as she fell, the light disappearing from her eyes before her body hit the floor. We drove right to the police station. Me and Mike decided to go inside while Sam and Isabel watched Jared. The lights were on, but the station was locked with no one inside. We walked around, looked through every window, nothing. When we got back to the car, Jared still wasn't awake and his breathing was all fucked up. So we discussed it and decided to take him to the hospital in Landhart. It's only a 2-hour drive. We should be there soon. It'll be okay. We've been driving for 6 hours now. We're almost out of gas. Jared still isn't awake, and we haven't made it to Landhart yet. We've doubled back twice. Looked for road signs, building lights, anything to tell us where the fuck we are. But there's nothing. No signs, no cities, not even a gas station. We haven't passed another car since we left my house. The rain's falling just as hard out here. Mike says we need to turn around, try to get back to town before we get stranded. Isabel says that's crazy. We need to keep looking for the hospital, and we don't have enough to make it back anyway. Sam says she's going to keep driving. That's all we can do at this point. Jared's dead, and we're out of gas. The car died maybe an hour ago. Jared maybe half an hour after that. No idea where we are. We decided to double back, see if we had passed the hospital again, but there was nothing. Isabel and Mike are going at it, each convinced that this is the other's fault. Sam's ignoring them. She's sitting by Jared, holding his hand. She hasn't looked away from him since he stopped breathing. Hasn't said 10 words since we left town. I must have fallen asleep because I had another dream. I knew instantly it was a continuation from before. It was too clear, too substantial to be anything else. And even though I knew it was a dream, I couldn't do anything but watch. I stand ankle deep in a vast, clear river. I'm holding the corpse of my daughter. I'm not sure how I recognize her as taken by the sickness as she is. Her hair has fallen out. Her skin is completely covered in black scabs that hid even her eyes. Flecks of cracked skin fall away as my arms rub against her body. But for some reason, as I look at her, I don't feel sorrow. I feel hope. I kneel and place her body into the water. It drifts on the surface. Then the water engulfs her, makes her a part of it. She becomes the current that takes her, and I know it will sweep her to the sea where she can finally be at peace. But the work isn't done. I turn, wade back to shore where the blackened body of my husband waits. As I do, I become cognizant of the others, the survivors. Each has with them the bodies of their children, families, friends. 18 survivors. Hundreds of bodies. One by one, we take them to the river, till only we remain. I woke up to the sound of Jared evaporating. It took me a moment to realize what was going on. The others were all scrambling around the body, and I couldn't get a good look. All I could see was the steam filling the car. When I pushed my way through, I saw his body was boiling. That's the best way to describe it. Bubbles writhing and popping across the surface of his skin. Drops of water leaping off him and burning where they touched us. The shape of him was almost completely gone, aside from a vague human-looking lump within his clothing and some ridges that might have been facial features. Sam tried to touch the water too. I don't know, stop it, save him, catch him. The heat of the scene pushed her back. All we could do was watch as Jared fizzled away, till the only thing left of him was vapor and soaked clothing. We decided to leave, or Mike and Sam decided to leave, and Isabel and I realized we didn't have any choice but to follow. I mean, what difference did it make? Stay or go, the outcome would be the same, but I figured trying to find something out there might be better than staying in the car until we all starved to death. We grabbed the flashlight from the glove box and headed out. We couldn't have walked more than a mile before we reached the town. I almost bumped into Mike when he stopped walking after shining the light onto the "Welcome to Clearwater" sign. He didn't say anything. What could he say? We turned around, started walking the other way. Not sure how far. 2 miles? 3? We didn't pass the car, but it didn't matter. We ended up back at the sign. The city. Sam turned, walked up the highway, and into the farmland surrounded it. We followed. We knew it wouldn't work, but followed anyway. On the other side of the field, sure enough, we found ourselves back on the highway, in front of the sign. Mike insisted he wasn't going back in. No fucking way. He'd rather take the risk out in the rain than spend another second with whatever was in that city. We pointed out that whatever was in the city was pretty clearly outside of it too, and at least the city had food. He wouldn't listen, so we started walking. 3 minutes later, he caught up. Didn't say a word. The lights in the town were all on, but there were no people, no cars. A few times I thought I saw movement, but it was always just a branch or a piece of trash picked up by the wind. We were on alert the whole time, but nothing happened. We decided to hole up in Dirk's Sporting because it had guns and was right next to the grocery store. Sam and Mike went and grabbed food while Isabel and I, meaning just I, took stock of the store. When the others came back, we started working out shifts to sleep in. 2 awake at the same time. I volunteered for the first shift, even though I felt like I wanted to collapse. I just couldn't stand to dream again. Mike shot himself. And we're a lot more fucked than I first thought. For a while, I was still holding on to the idea of survival. That there was some sort of exit to whatever fucked up situation we found ourselves in. There isn't. I don't think there ever was. It's the only ending I could have hoped for. But if I keep thinking about that, I'm going to go fucking insane. So, Mike, he's dead. We were on shift together when he got up and said he'd be back in a minute. Maybe he was just going to the bathroom until I heard the gunshot. I got there 20 seconds before Sam and Isabel. His body was slumped against a wall, a shotgun barrel stuck in his mouth. There was no blood, and I thought he'd missed or accidentally discharged until I saw the hole in the back of his skull. Then I realized there was something splattered on the wall, but it wasn't blood. It was water. Isabel screamed when she saw the body. I heard her gasping and ignored her. Sam knelt close to me, close enough that I could feel her trembling. For a moment, the only noise was her ragged breathing and Isabel's whimpers. Then Sam reached out and ran her fingers along the rim of Mike's skull. Then she drew them back, stared. A small noise rose from the back of her throat. Her fingertips were coated in water. Before I could react, she thrust more fingers into the wound. Water ran down her hands as she dug into what would have been his brain. Water sloshed in the chalice of his skull. When we lowered his body to rest on the floor, it was water that pooled on the wood. Sam leapt up, ran to the counter, snatched a knife from its sheath, and held it to her arm. We stared at each other. I didn't want her to do it. Didn't want to see what would happen. She sliced open her arm, and water spilled from the wound. We stared at the injury, too distracted to notice Isabel calling to us. It wasn't until she ran over and yanked on my sleeve that I remembered she existed. Outside was all she said. Hundreds of people had gathered outside the window, unmoving silhouettes staring through the darkness, filling the street. When lightning flashed, I saw the faces of strangers soaked by the rain. They've been there for 2 hours now, haven't moved an inch. They're outside every window, every exit. I don't know how long they're willing to wait, but I'm damn sure it's longer than we have. Maybe Mike had the right idea. Sam left and we didn't bother to stop her. She muttered something before she stood and marched out the door. I remember thinking, as I watched her leave, that I should do something. I should reach out or call to her or block her exit, but the thought wouldn't make it past my brain, like there was a wall between my nerves and my body. I just stared as she stepped into the rain. As silhouettes shifted as soon as she was outside, they opened up to let her through, and she vanished into them, into the dark. I don't want to go back. That's what she said before she left. In my dream, I am the storm, and I am screaming. The wind whips at me like razors raking through my body. The frozen rain bites at my skin, except I don't have a body. I don't have skin. The wind is a part of me. The rain is from me. Every second I rip myself apart and reform, rip and reshape, until I'm scattered over miles of storm, trapped in the roil. Around me, I hear the screams of my village. I feel their presence against mine, just as much a part of the storm as I. We fight, struggle, but the storm cannot be broken. It hurtles over the land, dragging us in its wake. And then I am falling, rushing to meet the ground. For a moment, the earth embraces me. I remember what it felt like to feel the dirt beneath my feet, and the sun on my skin, and the crisp air in my lungs. Till the storm steals me again, and I am pulled back into the screams of my comrades. I woke up, and Isabel was gone, just a puddle of water on the floor. I think the rain is speaking to me. I can hear it ever since I woke up. I don't know what it's saying, but the whispers in my ear are getting louder. When I cover my ears, it's still there. If I scream, it rises over the screaming. I'm trying to write just to focus on anything else, but the fucking voice is still there, and I know what it wants me to do. It wants me to join it. I'm its child, and it misses me. It can't bear to be apart. What can I do? What can I do? The strangers are still outside watching me, waiting for my choice, because they know what my choice will be, don't they? Only one way this can end. I can wait and starve, or shoot myself, or slice my wrists, or walk out into the rain, but it's all going to end the same way. The water is eternal. The rain will remain no matter how polluted it becomes. At the end, we all become rain. I don't want to go back. So that's the story. And here is the actual SCP entry. So that was the story of connected to SCP-3300, which is Euclid. And the containment of this is focus on observation and ensuring it does not spread from the affected area. A mobile observation post has been set up 5 kilometers outside the town of Clearwater, Montana for this purpose. Attempts at manned exploration of 3300 events are currently suspended. When the 3300 event begins, the observation team will fall back to a point 10 kilometers from the town border and continue observation. Any unusual activity is to be noted. Any attempts made by outsiders to enter or exit the area will be halted. Non-lethal force is authorized for this purpose. Instances of 3300-1 attempting to leave Clearwater will be detained and interviewed under the pretense of a police search. Following this, they will be allowed to continue their travel under Foundation observation. All personnel involved in the containment of SCP-3300 are prescribed a weekly dose of Class Y amnestics. Now, if you guys don't know what amnestics are, so nestics are so you can remember stuff. Amnestics are so you can forget stuff. So the Foundation uses amnestics a lot to make people forget stuff they're not supposed to see, that kind of thing. Nestics aren't talked about as much, and they're so people can remember stuff, because there are SCPs that eat away at your memories or mess with your head and stuff like that. So they take this special type of drug to make it so they remember stuff, which is pretty neat. So the description: SCP-3300 is an annual event in which the populace of Clearwater, Montana, henceforth SCP-3300-1, or just -1, disappears and is replaced by a new set of citizens. The event typically occurs in the mid-portion of June and lasts 6 to 18 days. The first 48 hours of each event are marked by light, continuous rain over the entire city. The rain is stationary and appears regardless of the weather in the surrounding area. This portion of the event ends when the rain transitions to a severe thunderstorm, lasting for the remaining duration of SCP-3300. The interior of an event past that point has never been observed. Any attempt by the Foundation to explore the event has ended in either a total loss of personnel and equipment, or failure to even enter the phenomena. Several times personnel entering 3300 have emerged instantaneously on the other side. When the event ends, all -1 instances will have been replaced by new iterations with completely new appearances, personalities, and memories. Beyond remarking on the unusually severe nature of the storm, new instances show no recollection of the event. Instances of -1 behave identically to baseline human beings. However, no record of any instance prior to their appearance from an event exists. Instances will occasionally share names, professions, certain memories, and broad personality traits from those from previous iterations. However, no -1 instance has been observed repeating from previous events. -1 instances are unaware of their anomalous nature and the circumstances surrounding their existence. Physical and post-mortem examinations reveal no differences from baseline humans. Instances of -1 outside of the town, when 3300 occurs, will disappear several days after the event begins. All attempts to observe this disappearance have failed. SCP-3300 is accompanied by a moderate cognitive hazardous event. Outside citizens learning about the existence of the town of Clearwater or its citizens will give little thought to them unless the subject is brought to their direct attention. This affects focus rather than memory. Those affected do not forget that Clearwater exists, but rather show difficulty paying attention to it. Outside citizens familiar with disappeared instances will not comment on their absence unless reminded, and even then show little concern. The history of SCP-3300 is unknown. Records of its existence go back to the beginning of the Foundation. Despite this, almost no progress has been made in attempts to research the phenomena. Addendum. The earlier journal was recovered in the aftermath of the 33300 event ending on June 30th, 1995, and represents one of the few descriptions of what occurs during the phenomena. The writer of the document has been identified as Margaret Lane. The events described in the journal are unverified. Attempts to automatically observe the interior of an event are still underway. Oh, spooky. Oh. I think for today we'll maybe we'll leave that as the last one. It depends how you guys feeling about it. If you guys have any requests, any comments, questions, concerns, that sort of thing. These last year are really long. I think we'll just do a shorter little stream for today because I'm still learning like how to do this and this sort of thing. And SCPs are really complex, so I don't want to overload you guys with any of like the bigger, longer ones. So yeah. But if you guys don't have any questions or comments or concerns, I will end the stream for today. A little bit of a shorter one. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll be doing this every Sunday for June, July, and August. And I'll be reading different things. For example, for our next stream, I'm going to be reading our No Sleep stories. It's from the Reddit called No Sleep. Now, this Reddit is interesting because the way these stories are told, they're all spooky stories. And the way they're told is you have to be like in character when you tell them. So they're not true. They're not like from life stories. But the way the writers write them is they write them as if they are true. And then the audience just kind of plays along because after the story's like written and uploaded, you can leave comments. And so let's say someone writes a story about the time when they were a little kid and they kept seeing this weird entity in the woods and it looked really weird and, you know, it would just kind of wander around. In the comments, when you respond to the story, you're supposed to pretend that this actually happened. So you like play along. So you're like, oh, what did the creature look like? And could it talk? And was it dangerous? And so that's just like a base example of how it works. So, it won't be as complex or complicated to worry about as like all the SCP stuff. This might have been a lot to drop on you guys for the first one. Maybe I should have saved it for the last, but so, and then next one will be Glitch in the Matrix, which these stories are supposedly actually happen to people. And so what a Glitch in the Matrix story is like someone like has a memory of something happening. And, you know, it's really weird, and then they try to talk to their family members about it, and their family members are like, what are you talking about? That never happened, or this happened this way, or so-and-so wasn't there because they were on vacation and wherever, and they're like, no, I clearly remember so-and-so being there and talking to them, and we did this and this, and then they're like, yeah, you're crazy. So it's like when stuff in reality kind of goes wrong, but you can't, like, prove it, but you know it happened. So I think these are stories that are supposed to be, like, actually happened, allegedly. And then the last one for this month is going to be Lovecraft. I'm going to read you guys more Lovecraft. I'm going to pick some of his shorter stories because there are some super long ones by him. So, yeah. But anyway, that's the plan for this month. And I'm sorry we couldn't play Elden Ring the other day, guys. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff with my vessel and just in general. A lot of things piled up at once. I was so sad because I love Elden Ring. So maybe we'll play that instead of Stardew or Doom or something next week. I'll see how I'm feeling. But next week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. EST. Sorry for the late stream today. I had to get a little bit more rest there because things are weird right now. But on Monday, we'll be doing Stardew. On Wednesday, we'll be continuing Doom 2. I should check how close we are to the end of Doom 2. We've been through a lot of it, so. Then a new game for you guys called Dusk. It's in the same vein as Doom. It's kind of a spooky first-person, like, kind of shooter thing. But it has a really spooky setting. I think even spookier than Doom, I would say, but it's really well made. It's kind of got a retro-y art style, so hopefully you guys will really like that. And then the week after that, we have 2 of our language learning streams finally. We have Learn Japanese with me, and then we'll play more Elden Ring, and then we'll learn Latin with me. And of course, every Sunday of these week, we have our spookies, so I already read that to you guys. And then the next week, we will we'll continue Resident Evil 2 Remake. Remember that, guys? We started that ages ago. And then on Wednesday of that week, I'm going to try something interesting and different and new. We're going to play Oblivion with Punch Baby, also known as Calicari. But she might be hanging out with you guys instead of me, so I look forward to that. And then we'll have more Doom on the 23rd. Whether that's going to be more Doom 2 or a different Doom entirely depends on how many more levels we have to go in Doom 2. We might be close to the end at this point. And of course, that's Sunday, more spooky stories. Then the last week of June, we're going to be doing some retro stuff. We have some N64 games. I'll surprise you guys what with. We might pay several different ones. And then we'll have some GameCube games. So yeah. The schedule is pinned to the top of my Twitter, and I also put it in the community tab on YouTube, so be sure to check that out. And if you're not following me on Twitter, go over and do that if you use Twitter. If not, no big deal. I will always try to remember to post updates and stream stuff and other related stuff on YouTube as well. I've been getting pretty good about that, so yeah. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to drop me some comments on YouTube after the stream, or poke me on Twitter. You can @ me. Yeah, and all my details and stuff are in the rules and everything are in the description below. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the spooky reading stream. This is something new, so I'm sorry if it's a little scuffed. And yeah, until next time, which is going to be... Today was tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. So tomorrow we're gonna play some more Stardew, or maybe I'll change it to Elden Ring. You know, we'll see how I'm feeling about things. If I'm feeling more energetic, I think we'll do some Elden Ring. If I'm feeling more chill time, we'll do Stardew. Or maybe I can just have you guys decide. We'll see. Anyway, I'll see you guys then. And I'm just gonna end the stream because the way I'm gonna treat these story reading streams is maybe you guys will use them for like a sleep aid or something. So if I suddenly change to something that isn't, you know, my voice and is my usual outro music, maybe it would disturb you guys. So I'm just gonna end it. And it was great to see you guys come out and hang out. And yeah, so if you guys missed the stream, be sure to go check it out. The VOD, because the VOD's always gonna be there. So anyway, adore you guys, big hugs, and I will see you tomorrow for either Stardew or Elden Ring, 1 p.m. EST as usual. Until then, bye.